Hi, welcome back. Today we're going to begin the process of starting to make some things. Like I said in Facebook, if you saw that, I don't know if I mentioned it last time, we're going to make a small wallet. I designed this a few years ago as a personal wallet because I was trying to get away from my big biker wallet with the chain and all, which I'd had for years. But this is what would be, I guess, commonly called a minimalist wallet. It's small. I didn't want to make it so small that it was completely useless, though. I didn't want a business card carrier. So this little wallet I designed, it's got a pocket in the front, a pocket in the back, and the original design only had just this little guy here for some money or additional cards. That didn't turn out to be that useful. So this one is what we're making now. This is one that's got a front pocket, it's got a back pocket, and it's got a nice little pocket in the middle so that you can cram like 8 or more cards in this and even have a little bit of room for money. But this is what we're going to be making. And the way that we're going to do this, if you want the pattern, I'll send it to you if you just send me some kind of request at stevegilworth@gmail.com. Or you can take a picture of this, and I'll put it on Facebook too, so a better picture. And if you play with your printer a little bit, you can get it to the point where it'll blow this up or down to the 3 3/4 inch that way, 3 inches this way. You end up with, you need 2 of these and 2 of these. And I'll go over this again as we get going into it. And in this, it also has the holes laid out for them where you need to stitch. And like I was saying, we'll go over this again, but today I'd like to focus on the very first step of any kind of a creative activity, and that's getting your mind right. For those of you who are just starting into leather or starting into crafts in general, there's some hurdles you have to get over. One of the biggest ones is you're going to start hearing voices in your head going, hey, you can't do this, you've never made anything in your life, you're not creative, you're not artistic. I've heard every description, and really it always boils down to one simple thing, and that's our biggest challenge, is getting over the speed bump that says you can't do it. You don't know you can't do it. You can do it if you try, and we're going to help you. And I'm going to show you a guy here that's going to help you even more. He's going to give you the ideas and the patterns, and he's given them to me. His name is Tony C. He's agreed to let us use his patterns, of which are copyrighted, but he's still allowed us to use it. And if you go to his website, dieselpunk.ro or leather.patterns.com, there's a few restrictions that he puts, but for the most part he's very supportive, and shows you the pattern, shows you where the stitch holes go, does tutorials on YouTube, and you follow him and use what he offers you, and all of a sudden you went from I don't have any idea what I want to do to having a dozen ideas of what you'd want to do. He does everything from very small, I would call this a purse, it's a pouch. This one can either be hung on a strap or on your belt, on the belt of your pants. This is another one, just a different kind of leather, same basic, same design. And he goes all the way from that, all the way up to some really incredible things. This is a nice briefcase with a laptop pouch on the back. And every single one of what he offers is made the same way. It's a pattern with all the holes laid out, and it makes it interesting. And even for me, I've been doing this a long time, but I always stayed with biker stuff and never really went into something that would be considered, well, I went into it to a small degree, but I was like everybody else, coming up with the pattern and laying out the stitch holes and everything. It's not easy. He's done all that for you. He is not my sponsor. I get no money from Tony. I get no benefit out of this other than the fact I'd like to see folks that want to get into leather, or if they've been into leather, just want to try a different aspect of it. I want them to be exposed to Tony. And there's another thing he does right now. Most of his patterns are very inexpensive. Like I said, I get no money for this, but I get a great deal of satisfaction out of telling you that he does another thing, and that's sometimes he puts things on for free. Right now, he's got a free dog collar pattern that he just loaded up, and it even comes with several sizes for that collar. I was inspired on Facebook this morning. I looked on there, and there was a young lady that was very proud that her and her mom had made a project, and it was a collar for around her neck with spikes on it, you know, and it was her first project, and she was so proud of it. And by the way, I always say keep your first project, because it's one that you'll look back on and enjoy over and over and over again, because it was the first one. So I was inspired by that, and I'm telling you right now, don't wait too long. Tony doesn't leave everything up forever for free. But right now it is for free, and we're certainly going to be doing one of those projects coming up very quickly. And I'll also say one other thing about the mindset. Don't go on the internet or on YouTube and start comparing yourself to everybody else. That's the quickest way to stop progress in your personal journey in creativity, is by trying to compare yourself to somebody else. Remember this, every single thing you make, no matter if you see what you consider to be a mistake or not, it's not. You're making a one-of-a-kind thing that will never be reproduced, has never been made before. Every little thing you do, no matter if somebody right next to you is making the same exact project, it's not the same thing. Yours is unique. As a matter of fact, when I go into like an old saddle shop or a thrift store or whatever where they've had handmade leather products, I'm looking around for the fingernail marks and all the little things that make that a very distinctive product. Every little thing that might be considered a mistake, in my opinion, is called character, and also it brands it as your project. Just as much as you signing it, it's that unique. So don't get discouraged because you're not looking like somebody that's been doing it for 40 years. Don't compare yourself to somebody that's been doing it for 5 minutes or 40 years. It means nothing. You make your own. You're going to take little pieces, that pattern, you're going to take little pieces of leather that may have been thrown away, and you're going to take those little pieces of leather and you're going to create something that has a great deal of use to it. Something you can use, something you can give away as a present, but more importantly, something that you can stand there and go, hey, look at this. All your friends that are telling you, hey, you'll never make that wallet, you'll never do that, you go, hey, they always say, when you make it, come and show me. Here it is, we made it. Take a look. Do you have one? No. Why? Because you didn't have what it took to start it. Because if you start it and finish it, you'll have it forever. And this little guy here, it takes almost no tools. This takes a little punch, 1.5 millimeter, I think they call it, about a 1/16, eighth of an inch punch, any kind of hammer, and some thread, which I use what's called waxed braided cord. You can get it at Tandy, and a couple of needles, and bingo, you're going to end up with a nice little wallet. And that very same system that you use to make this little wallet is what's used to make any kind of bag, any kind of belt. We'll be making a lot of these things, and also we'll be using some of Tony's designs because they're easy for you to have a pattern of already. When we get into tooling and lacing and things of that nature, you'll already have a bag that you can have a pattern for, and you don't have to go up against the wall of, what am I going to make? That's another thing that stumbles people. They like to start doing something, they have no idea where to begin. You know, what do I make? I don't even know what to make, and if I did figure out what to make, how am I going to come up with it? I've never done a pattern before, or I've never done any kind of artwork before. I can tell you right now, we'll overcome all of that. To be a leather worker, you do not need to be a great artist. There are so many shortcuts and so many little ways to get around the inability to draw or paint, and we'll go over all of them. And for those guys that have been doing this a long time, hold tight. We're going to get to some of the more complicated and the more skill-orientated stuff like tooling. Did I happen to mention that it wasn't going to be on this channel that you were going to learn how to really spiff up your video making skills? I ran out of space on that chip, so all I was really going to say was stick with me. If you're more advanced, in just the next couple of videos, we're going to go ahead and start getting into some of those things that were more advanced, tooling, seat making. But up until then, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bring the ones that have not really got a lot of experience, maybe just started or haven't started at all, bring them into the family so that they can follow along and enjoy these videos too. And I hope you guys are all having a great time. I hope you're staying safe. I will see you next week.